anything you can think of, just really connecting and diving into their career for advice for not just myself, who's still a little younger in the industry, but also folks that are in college still and want to dive in as well. So that's just about me. If you want to start off with yourself, Derek, and how you got to where you are at Oklahoma.
Yeah, well, I'll start by saying congratulations on your journey, your path. There's a lot to be excited about at the University of Kansas with the football stadium and
Yeah.
all the intricacies that are going to be built around the stadium. That's going to be an economic boon for the town of Lawrence. We have a young man in our office that graduated from KU, and he's incredibly bullish on the future there in Lawrence. And so he keeps me in the loop. And then two buddies that I grew up in my hometown went to K State, so I'm an honorary Sunflower State kid with Hunter, and then my buddies from back home. But a little bit about me. I grew up in southern New Mexico, and I went to undergraduate school at New Mexico State University there in my hometown. I was involved in a lot of different things on the athletic side. I originally was a women's basketball practice player for a year, and
Mhm.
the men's basketball coach at the time, he had just began his first year after being an assistant for 10 years, and he allowed me to be around the program in his 1 year at New Mexico State before he took the head coaching position at the University of New Mexico, which was kind of controversial at the time. But the reason I bring him up is because after he finished coaching, he's developed his own career path in athletic administration. He's the CFO at Abilene Christian, and he's been very above and beyond to me in my career. Worked in athletics. I did marketing. I did some journalism stuff. I mean, I was everywhere. I mean, anything I could get my PA announcing. I mean, anything. It's a small
Nice.
school, and they let me be a part of just about anything I was willing to do. And I graduated, and I'll never forget it. I walked into our deputy AD's office, and I told him, I was like, yeah, I think I want to be an athletic director. And he's like, well, that's great. You just graduated college. You're back at the bottom of the ladder. And the only opportunity we have for you that pays is a $7.50 ticket sales job here in our department. And I was like, yikes, you think you graduate college and you're going to be making six figures right away. And one of the things he told me was, if you think you're going to get rich doing this stuff, man, just turn away now. Go find something else to
Mhm.
do. And I'm really passionate about athletics and what it can do for a student body, a university, and a community. And I knew I wanted to do this for a living. He gave me my first shot, and I would literally go around my hometown in Las Cruces selling $5 basketball and baseball tickets. And I did that for about 8 months before COVID shut it all down. We get sent home. March quickly turns into July. It's not looking like New Mexico State or New Mexico is going to have a football season or a basketball season, but a similar position that I had in New Mexico State opened up at OU, minimum wage. At the time, I was making 3 times as much money on the federal unemployment program, and I get offered the job, and it made no sense, Ryan, to be honest with you, to do it. But I knew that if I didn't at least take a gamble, like I didn't have a lot of confidence that my career would pan out. Oklahoma's Oklahoma. And I grew
Yeah.
up a Sooner fan. Landry Jones is from the state, and he played 4 years as a starting quarterback here and is the career passing yardage owner. And so I had some connections and ties, and I came over here. We got through the COVID season, thankfully, and through just good attitude, good work ethic, I got moved over to the Sooner Club about a year later. And we were at the time fundraising for Love's Field. It's our new softball stadium. She's 3 years old, and now it's the largest 100% privately funded female specific facility in the history of college athletics. And I got to play a small part in bringing that to life. Through that and through the successes that we had as a team, I was given the opportunity to be a MGO at West Virginia University. Left to West
Mhm.
Virginia, spent a year in Morgantown under Shane Lyons and then Ren Baker, who's currently the AD, and really enjoyed my time there. It was a complete culture shock for me. I had never even been in the Eastern time zone. I mean, you're deep in Appalachia in Morgantown, and those country roads, I mean, they get windy and a little quieter out there, but I really enjoyed my time. About a year into my role at West Virginia, the same opportunity became available back at Oklahoma. And it's really where my heart's always been. Came back to Oklahoma and had been here 3 years in my second stint. 5 years we're coming up on this summer, but it's been a great, great journey. And I've been very fortunate to know a lot of people in have a lot of people pour into me. With everything going on here right now, we're obviously in the SEC now. I was here as we transitioned from the Big 12 to the SEC. We've had to really enhance our resources. It's a different ball game, and what we did to be Big 12 Oklahoma isn't going to get it done in the Southeastern Conference. That's just the reality. Now we have a new athletic director. His name's Roger Denny. He joined us from the University of Illinois, incredibly sharp, a lot of new ideas, and we're, gearing up for a big football season. We made the playoff last year, which was great. We'd like to
Yeah.
make a deeper run this year. We bring about, I think, 65 to 70% of our offense back, and our defense is really good. So we're
Nice.
excited. We got to get out of the month of September. We got to go to Ann Arbor and Athens, Georgia, before we head
Yeah.
into Dallas to play.
Two tough matchups.
Yeah. Yeah, but the future's bright. We're working on a football stadium project. A basketball arena is on the horizon, and then we're doing a significant project over at baseball because SEC baseball, it's big time, and we're trying to get to the level of, Mississippi State has a great stadium, LSU, A&M. We're trying to get to that level as well. So that's where we are with everything, and that's how I ended up where I am today.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. A similar path, I would say, and hopefully in the future too, down the line, going back into development is ultimately my goal and being on that side. But going through your day to day now, at Oklahoma, being the director of development, kind of walk me through what that looks like and how you're engaging in those projects and day to day, kind of interactions with donors and stuff. Kind of walk through your day to day.
Yeah, our now athletic director emeritus, back in November ahead of the Missouri game, it's about mid-November, we publicly announced the Palace project. It's going to be a $450 million endeavor that we're going to embark on that we intend on fully privately funding. As a part of this project, we're going to change a lot of what's currently on the home side, west side. The bigger piece of it is for the first time ever, we're going to do a full stadium reseat. Every season ticket holder on all the way down to about 18,000 is going to be a part of this process. And we have some loyal Sooners that have been with us in that stadium. The stadium itself is 101, and we've had folks be in their locations for 40, 50, 60 years. And maybe they don't know what the Sooner Club is. They're unfamiliar with how we go about doing things in our ethos, which is obviously to generate support for facility projects and scholarships. And so Joe, as a part of this announcement, made a promise to our stakeholders that over the course of the next 2 years, we're going to try to have a meeting with every season ticket holder that we have and give them their options, explain why we're doing this project, and a few different tidbits on why this is so important to position us for the future.
Mhm.
And to answer your question, day to day. You call, I mean, we have a portfolio of about 350, 400 folks. And the good part of it is we had a really good season this past year. We're bringing a lot back this year. But this project, everybody has a role in this project. Even if, there's a chance that they won't give or it's not likely that they'll give, they need to know what's going on and how this reseat's going to go because that's going to directly impact their game day experience and their season tickets. Our role, and that goes for every frontline fundraiser we have, is we got to get in front of these folks and explain what's going on and why we're going about it the way that we are. Meetings galore. There's a lot of excitement. There's a lot of curiosity. People are scared. I've read my fair share of articles of, families that have sat with each other for 50 years side by side. And now they
Yeah.
think we're going to take away their season tickets and boot them out and price them out. And that can't be further from the truth. We're excited about it. It's going to help position Oklahoma athletics for the next 50 to 75 years. Like it's going to be a huge revenue boost for us with all the new club seating options that are going to exist. And it's just about football drives a lot of the other programs we have within the department. And we got to be able to position that program to do well and to offer a first class experience because that's what Sooner Nation deserves. So that's my day to day
Mhm.
emails, calls, and then out on the road. Oklahoma City, Norman, Tulsa, Dallas, small little places here in Oklahoma. We got a lot of passionate Sooners that are itching to get the 411 on this. So that's what we're
Yeah.
busy doing.
Yeah, that's oddly similar to what we just had to go through for our football stadium. We tore ours down completely, so we were in that same boat of reseeding, and I got a glimpse of it when I was an intern back in last spring, and now I'm getting the full experience now of having to call everyone and and this year is like the phase 2 of our project, so it's we have our west and north side done, and then the east side is what we're building and constructing right now, so having to call those folks and understand that not all of it's gonna be ready and stuff like that, and really making them understand it and know more than they should just so they're not out of the loop when the football season comes around, and I'm sure you're doing the exact same thing too.
Yeah. Yeah, very similar situation here. We're really trying to educate people. There was a
Mhm.
lot of panic right away. People don't
Yeah.
like change. Nostalgia is a huge emotion that's a part of this equation, and we don't wanna be obtuse to the fact that people have sat there with their grandparents and with their parents, and they wanna sit there with their grandkids. It's gonna look
Yeah.
different. The reality of it is if we weren't doing this project, the west side, lower sideline has existed the way we know it for the last 100 years. There's all kinds of infrastructural issues. And if we weren't doing this project, we'd be looking at about $125 million in just updates to sewage, piping, bathrooms,
Mhm.
walkways. If it rains, like how the water gets out of everybody's way as soon as possible. We looked
Yeah.
at it holistically and it's like, if we're going to do this, let's do this right. Let's do this for once and for all. And where we landed with it is it's going to be one of the best stadiums in college football when it's all said and done.
Yeah, so what's the timeline look like for it? You mentioned kind of the infrastructure, and I know with us having the first year of our new sides, there's always gonna be some hiccups, and we've had to kind of uncover some of those, but what's the timeline look like for the stadium?
Yeah, for the next 2 years, it's business as usual. We're going to continue on with the stadium how we know it. People are going to continue to have their season tickets that they've always had. Where it gets a little tricky for us is after the 27 season, we're going to begin construction. It's going to bleed obviously into 2028, and we're calling 2028 partial occupancy. We don't entirely know what that's going to look like quite yet. We have different scenarios, and we're prepared for just about anything. But the plan in place is to have the stadium all systems go by the fall of 2029. And that'll be a big year for us because we're actually going to host Nebraska, huge old Big Eight rivalry. And they'll be coming
Yeah,
in
big
8 years.
time rivalry.
Yeah. So we think the stadium will be ready to go by the start of the 2029 season.
That's awesome. Yeah, yeah, again, very similar to ours too, and then talk about the new district center for the basketball arena as well.
Yeah, the unique piece of the basketball arena is it's a very political conversation with the city of Norman, the state of Oklahoma. There's been city councils involved, and it's going to be on the north side of Norman. It's going to be off campus. And the arena itself is going to be about $300 million. Athletics will have a piece of that to go out and fundraise for. But around this arena is going to be retail. It's going to be very similar to how AT&T Stadium and the new Rangers ballpark have Texas Live. We're going to have
Yeah.
a smaller, more intimate version of that with this arena with restaurants, apartments, things like that. And right now, this piece of land is just completely vacant and it's right off of I-35. It's one of the most valuable plots of land. And I think I-35 goes from like, let's say Austin all the way up to like Lincoln, Nebraska. And this piece of land is like a gold mine. And we want to put not only OU men's basketball, but women's basketball and our world class women's gymnastics program would operate as tenants in this new arena. It'd be about 8,000 seats. It'd be kind of similar from an experience standpoint to what you see over down at Baylor and the Moody Center in Austin.
Yeah.
It's going to be right on top of you. A lot of club seating options, good places to get a bite to eat within the arena. We hope that this thing will be ready by the start of the 29th. Unfortunately, it's just a little bit out of our hands, and there's a lot of different moving parts and opinions, but we're hopeful, and we should hopefully have clarity sooner rather than later.
Yeah, there always is gonna be, a lot of troubles and stuff like with going on with stuff like that. Hopefully, I'm hoping for the best for you guys, 2029 season. Before you know it, it's gonna be around the corners.
Yeah, I've learned
Uh,
more about what a TIF is in the last year than I ever care to know. Something about a tax and you tax everything that's on the property and then it pays for itself, but it can take 30 years. I mean, I stay out of that. I'm just a fundraiser and a guy that works in
yeah,
the club, but we're excited. The future's bright here.
yeah, no, for sure. It's like, Arrowhead Stadium, or I guess the Chiefs moving. to the
Yeah.
Kansas side up here. So I've been reading articles about it too, a big Chiefs fan. So yeah, learning about all that. But going back to like you said, you're just like you're the fundraiser. What's that conversation look like with if when you're on the road or if you're on the phone, emails, Zoom, all that stuff? What's it look like? Are you just breaking down each project? And then asking for, I don't know, I mean, additional money, but, kind of break down what those conversations look like.
Yeah, they've been very robust, and not only robust, we've tried to really paint a vision that puts people in a position where whatever gift we're considering or talking with them about, it's going to have a generational impact, not only on the university and the department, but their experience. And because if you look at the bottom dollar amounts for some of these projects, it's going to take everybody being on board and doing the most that they can within reason. And
Mhm,
with football, with basketball, with baseball, and our Inspiring Champions Fund, it's like a catch all fund that we have. We are really focused on meeting with donors in person and explaining how tax deductible giving will not only help us, but help them too, because of all these different ongoing projects that we're about to be embarking on. And the cool thing about Sooner Nation is that they get it and they understand the importance of investing in the department. Oklahoma,
sure.
this logo, it's worldwide, and Oklahoma people have a lot of pride. And with the ability that we have to storytell, I mean, it's simple in the fact that if we don't invest in this department and in these programs, when people see this logo, it's not going to be, you know, Baker Mayfield or Sam Bradford or Adrian Peterson or Blake Griffin. You
Yeah,
know, the college athletics is changing and it's not the way it used to be. And we're trailblazers in a lot of ways with the way we've approached NIL and things like that. But it's going to take true investment to position OU athletics to continue to be in the future what it's been for us in the past and present. And that's what we tell folks.
mhm.
And they're on board with it. They get it. They get it. When you think of Oklahoma, you think about the Sooners winning, you think about tornadoes, and with a sprinkle of Oklahoma City Thunder, they're doing a pretty good job too.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure that helps a little bit, but yeah, I think it's just a lot about education, especially
Hmm.
to the older crowds and like you said, the people that have been going to get the same seats for 40, 50 years and just explaining to them what's going on and giving them all that information. Yeah, it's super cool to be an educator like ourselves and being able to give them that call and make them understand. And it's just the best feeling after knowing that they're like, well, hey, that makes way more sense and even get some money out of it or whatever. But just to fully educate them and see what our vision is and what the future of our each selective program is and again, it's not the way that it used to be, and times are definitely changing in college sports, but it's cool for them to kinda get that aha moment when they fully understand what's going on.
Yeah, and we've done a great job simplifying all the different initiatives that the Sooner Club represents. We used to have a
Mhm,
pretty big menu, and it was overwhelming. And it was right when NIL came on board, and Joe and Matt Shapercutter, Kendall Mayer, we took a look at our model and we thought if we could just simplify things, it'll make it a lot easier for our donors to understand. And then it gives us
mhm,
flexibility. You know, our Inspiring Champions Fund is a kind of a catch all, and we can apply those dollars to a few different things. Whereas the more sport specific or facility specific funds that you have, like you're tying down those dollars to that thing. So flexibility, the ability to stay nimble as things change by the day, you know, in what we do, it just goes back to great leadership. The people that we've had here have been here a long time, have been incredibly successful. The gentleman that runs our office, he's been here close to 20 years. And I mean, he bleeds crimson and cream and he's an incredibly sharp guy. So he sets the vision and we all go out and execute it, but it starts at the top and Oklahoma's always been excellent when it comes to leadership.
yeah. No, for sure. They have and hopefully continue always will. Great program, just great brand for each sport, football, basketball, gymnastics, like you
Yeah.
said, and baseball too. So, definitely a worldwide, brand, and hopefully you guys continue to be successful in each sport, and it comes with all these upgrades. Going back to your career and yourself, I know you said you got the opportunity from New Mexico and ultimately in Oklahoma, but what made you or what inspired you to be on the revenue generating side and kind of being the translator from, like, college sports of what everyone knows, to the local donor or fan.
Yeah, I've enjoyed it. What inspired me to do it, I love to storytell, and I've known that for a long time, but fundraising specifically is kind of a really unique crossroads where I get to storytell, but also be a problem solver. A lot of the times when we face challenges within the department, the Sooner Club is a lot of the time brought up as one of the primary ways we can find a solution. And we get brought up to speed by our leadership team in the Sooner Club, and we go out and try to get whatever it is that we need to get to solve the problem. And I love relationship development. I care a lot about these people, and I know what OU means to them because it means the same thing to me. And we all have a role in this. We all have a responsibility in this, and getting to work alongside donors and finding ways in which they can fully maximize their relationship with the University of Oklahoma. I mean, it's a blessing. And it I'm fortunate to where it comes pretty natural for me just with my personality traits and how much I enjoy getting to know people. But I'm also incredibly passionate about OU and what OU athletics represents. It's the perfect crossroads. And I think I went to NACDA a few years ago and I heard Josh Whitman from the University of Illinois. He was talking about how, as a fundraiser specifically, like you really need to consider your personality along with the environment in which you're going to go out and try to fundraise. And he used an analogy like you wouldn't put a cactus in the Northeast and you wouldn't put an apple tree in Arizona. And it's a goofy analogy, but it certainly applies to me because I mean, I'm from southern New Mexico and southern hospitality is near and dear to me. And Oklahoma people are the nicest people in America. I would go to bat for that every day of the week. And when I meet these folks or I continue to work alongside these folks, it's just so natural. The cohesion and the chemistry that I have 98% of the time with our donors, it's the perfect place for me and someone like me with my personality to be. And I've been very blessed. And through that cohesion and chemistry, big gifts and big impact have kind of come after that. And it's been incredibly natural. So I've been fortunate in that way.
Yeah, it's easy to sell what you know.
Mhm.
Is how I kinda look at it. Yeah, similar to you, growing up only 45 minutes away from Lawrence here, I know the lay of the land,
Mhm.
a lot of our folks are from Kansas City, which is where I'm from, so it's really easy to create that connection and create the way that they kinda operate themselves and knowing that's where I'm from and just the whole area in general. It's great community as well here in the, I guess, east side of Kansas, but yeah, very similar to you and the Southern hospitality and, knowing kind of the ways of the folks that are ending up donating in big time too. So that's cool to see the kind of comparison, from us as well.
Yeah, I've been to Lawrence. I went for OU KU football. It
When we
was
won 3 years
yeah,
ago,
the delay, it was cold. Me and a buddy went and it was an
that
awesome
ended up being yeah, that was my birthday, so it was like it's just a cherry on top.
Yeah, I love the way y'all play the bell after a touchdown, and you gotta wave the weed, and it was
Mhm.
unfortunate that OU lost that game, we lost that game, but seeing the rebirth of Kansas football, it's great for college football. Truly, in this era, we get so fixated on, we're worried about who's spending the most money and, are things getting stale? But Kansas is the perfect example. If you get people to invest, get the right
Mhm.
coaches, right administration, you get everything aligned, that's what can happen. It can happen quick, and it's
Yeah.
been awesome to follow. It's great. In this stadium that y'all are fixing to get going again, it's gonna serve the whole state of Kansas. It's gonna be really cool.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that, and we hope so, and it's kinda cool seeing the expectation rise for a program for KU football, at least. I hadn't been too
Yeah,
good in the past, and now the expectations are at an all-time high, and last year was technically a down year for us and still won, I think, 5 or 6
yeah,
games, so, we're still battling, and it's good to see the expectation that everyone's invested in
yeah,
coming in and everything like that, so, yeah, couldn't be a better time to be a Jayhawk here. But going back to you, you mentioned a little bit, but I kind of wanted to reiterate on skills and kind of traits a person wanting to go into fundraising on the development side. What are some of the quality traits that you were kind of mentioning before, but just to reiterate on it and kind of explain further?
yeah. I think the big thing above all else is the ability to storytell and paint a vision verbally and get people to believe in what you're saying. I mean, I think part of it too is you got to believe in it yourself. If you're just putting out empty words, I think a lot of times people can see right through that. Believe in the place that you're at, be able to storytell the vision for the present in the future. The other big piece of it is asking great questions. And that's something I've really tried to focus on the last few years. Open ended, really try to consider every vantage point that a donor is coming from. And I think there's endless things that you can discover through asking open-ended questions. And that's where for me as a fundraiser, things kind of really took off is for a little while I was so focused on I need to tell a really good story and really sell this thing. And then I took a step back. Chet Savage from New Mexico State gave me a book. It was like $20 and I would recommend this book to anybody. It's 92 tips and tricks on how to communicate with anybody. It's
Mhm.
a 92 little like chapters, and each chapter is like a page or two, and not everything in it is applicable, but asking questions is huge. You can discover so much, and people appreciate when you remember things about them, and you ask about how their family's doing and how their game day experience is going. That's a huge piece of it. Being incredibly, every person's different, but being able to vocalize how much you care about the institution and the department you represent, you want it
Mhm.
to come off in a way in which you're working alongside a donor. You're not just a guy that's coming in and asking for money so you can get a gift, so you can get as many gifts as you can get a promotion or go to the next place. You have to really consider how you can paint a vision, very important, but also align with the donors that you and this donor, the couple or the family, y'all are working side by side together to make sure that whatever institution you're at is going to be competitive in the present and into the future.
Yeah. No, yeah, that's amazing. Amazing advice and amazing concept of it. And I was writing down that book that you were talking about and then just notes for myself too, because that's definitely applicable to myself and stuff I wish I knew a little bit beforehand. So that was great. Derek, I wanted to say thank you again. I just have a couple more thoughts before we wrap this up, but I appreciate the time today again, and it's been amazing and insightful for sure. What's one thing you either wish you knew in the college landscape or wish you'd have done?
That's a great question, Ryan. For me, I wish I would have more earlier in my time in college out overall revenue generation opportunities. I didn't understand how anything worked until I had already graduated, and I got thrown into the deep end with ticket sales. Like I think about that first job at New Mexico State, and I would literally flip through a phone book or I'd go online and just Google places and would go to them and, hey, I'm Derek Gonzales from New Mexico State. Would you be interested in buying 20 group tickets to the basketball game Saturday? It's $100. And I just ran with that, and that was really hard, because I had never had a sales role like that. It was a lot, but I'm grateful
Mhm.
for it, and I remember Chet telling me it's a lot like boot camp, and that was certainly boot camp. It was hard. I made no money, and I'd run around my hometown trying to sell tickets to anyone that would give me the time of day, but I wish I would have gotten into that side of things earlier, specifically like development, because fundraising is really hard, and it's getting harder with the narratives that are being painted out there about and answer portal and all this stuff. It's getting harder to tug on heartstrings and discuss philanthropy with donors. We read about the Lamborghinis and the Ferraris and all this stuff, but 90% of what's going on still is true to the college athletics we all grew up loving and believing in.
Yeah.
It's the non-revenue sports mostly, but they're just as important as the football team and the men's basketball.
Mhm.
But it's getting harder to push back against the narrative. But if I had gotten into that side of things sooner, I think it would have boded well for me as I transitioned into a ticket sales role, and it was moving very fast for me for quite a bit of time. And I got a ton of reps in the OU athletics ticket office because we were on the main line for the ticket office. I'll never forget it, trust me. And we had just announced we were going to do reduced capacity for the 2020 season. So I was getting calls from people not happy that we were having a season, people that were not happy that they didn't qualify to get their season tickets. And then what we were asked to do is not only walk them away from the ledge, we had this fund at the time called the Sooner Relief Fund, and we were tasked with asking people, you're not going to get your season tickets that you paid for because we're going to be at reduced capacity, but would you be interested in donating it tax deductible to the Sooner Club? And I'll be honest, I raised about 38 grand from it. And that was the hardest 38 grand I'll probably ever come in contact with in my life.
Yeah.
It was hard. There was a time, I think it was that first day, I took 87 calls on the main line. And when I got in my car to go home, like I was on the verge of tears and I was like, man, do I even want to do this? Like,
Yeah.
yeah, I might just want to go home, like back to New Mexico.
Mhm. Yeah.
And I stuck with it. Thankfully, I had a good crew to work with over in the ticket office, and they're near and dear to me. But to answer your question, getting into revenue generation earlier because revenue generation's driving this thing. And if not revenue generation, like legal law. Our new athletic director, his background is he was a lawyer. And do I think I'm sharp enough to go to law school? A little bit bold. I think I'm much better off doing rev gen, but
Yeah.
I want to be just somebody that helps continue to problem solve and be a steward of good people, good donors, and I'm happy just where I'm at here at Oklahoma.
Yeah, no, that's phenomenal. I think, everyone wishes I think they started sooner. Even in college, a prime opportunity where you can, just experience little things, and that's probably something I wish I'd done too. Turning for development was a real eye opener and realized I should have been, just volunteering before that or working in the student ticket office or
Yeah.
something like that. So it seems like a lot of people wish they started a little bit sooner. I mean, hindsight's 2020, so you just never know.
Yeah. I mean, I was too busy throwing t-shirts into the stands and dressing up as a banana to do a skit during a media timeout at a women's basketball game. That's what I was doing. I think I would have
Yeah.
preferred to maybe try to work a room of Aggie Club donors or something, but that just
Yeah,
wasn't
you're
hard for me.
you sound like you're the jack of all trades there.
That was that's one thing they told me. Part of the biggest part of ability is availability. And I would
Mhm.
anything that they needed, they knew they could call me and I'd be there. And when it came time for me to not only get that first job out of college, but also when it came time for putting in a call on my behalf to come here to work in the ticket office, they didn't hesitate. And I'm very appreciative of Mario Mocha, Chet Savage, DJ Downs at New Mexico State because they were quick to help me land on my feet. But it came at the expense of, I wasn't out fooling, I was at a game and doing stuff for athletics, but I wouldn't trade that in for the world because I'm right where I want to be now. And that's what I would say to any college kid. Like, if you love college athletics, go to marketing, go to development, go to the ticket office and just immerse yourself. Like, be a face that senior admin sees at everything. And they're just like, does this kid not have a life? Like, no, like, this is what we do, man. It's awesome. It's fun. It's rewarding.
Mhm.
And the impacts that it has for a community, I mean, it's never ending. Like some of the numbers we
Yeah.
get about just the economic impact of being in the SEC, making the playoff game in December, like people's mom and pop businesses are doing well because of that. Like it bleeds so deep. It's so impactful and it's a privilege to be a part of.
Yeah, no, I mean, you nailed it on the head, and it's a privilege to work anywhere,
Mhm.
any college. It's a small niche positions, and going down this line of work it's hard, but it sounds like you obviously making the most of it. I'm trying to make the most of it, and yeah, I would have loved to have seen you back in college doing all that stuff.
Gosh, it was yeah, I mean, I was in college from 14 to 18. Luckily, I haven't been spammed with too many pictures of me, doing grunt work. They don't exist, thankfully, but, humbling, but it gives you a good perspective now that I'm in a role that, I'm able to really truly have the impact that I want to have. It makes you think back to those days, you're like, "Man, we really come a long way," and it makes you appreciate where you are now.
Mhm. Yeah, no, it really does. I think real quick, one thing I forgot, you don't have to go into full detail or anything, but what was that transition like to the SEC for not just fans, but also the department and realizing, all right, we got to ramp it up?
Yeah, great question. Ramping it up is, I'd say, the perfect terminology for what it was like for us. And I believe each of the last or 4 out of the last 5 years, we've broken our fiscal year fundraising record. And we're trending really well to continue in that same way as
Mhm.
we come close to June 30th. It's been awesome to see how we did things in the Big 12 and how we need to do things like this experience that I've had is invaluable. I remember the day the news broke, the Houston Chronicle broke it that we were gonna do this, and we didn't know how long it was gonna take. We were still tied to the Big 12 for, like, another 4 or 5 years, but immediately,
Mhm.
like, club seat sales, season tickets, all kinds of stuff, I mean, through the roof, and but on the flip side of that coin, there's a lot of pressure, and it's kinda different just, some of the peers we now have in the SEC versus what we knew in the Big 12, it's different. And we're the furthest west SEC school, so like recruiting travel and things like that, like we've had to really up our resource game tremendously. And it's going to continue. Rogers come in and he's evaluated the budget of each program we have, and there is a lot of work to do. We have a lot of programs currently that are punching above their weight class in the SEC, and we want to the possibilities are endless. And I think about baseball as a perfect example. Our stadium is not where we want it to be.
Mhm.
The budget for the program isn't where we want it to be, but yet we almost won the national championship 2 years ago. We're in the postseason every year. And our thought is if we can just get Skip Johnson on an even playing field with everybody in the SEC, what can that? We believe we can win a national championship in baseball. We haven't done so since 1994. That's just one example. Women's basketball, we're trying to get it there too. We got the number one recruit. She was a freshman this past year. We're
Nice.
thinking we're thinking big with her. A lot of work to do, a lot of pressure, but pressure is a privilege, and a lot of people would pay to be in these pair of Jordan lows that I'm in right now. So I'm pretty lucky.
Yeah. Yeah, you're trending up for sure, and, transitioning like that is obviously comes with its pros and cons, but it sounds like the pros are outweighing them, and it's only up from here for Oklahoma, and I'm excited to see your guy. I don't have to root against you anymore with you not being in the Big 12, so that's kind of a joy. I'll always hate Texas, so, I mean, that's just always that's gonna be there, and I'm sure you guys do too, obviously, but, no, I'm excited for you guys, and Derek, I just appreciate the time here. I think that's all I have on my end, at least. I appreciate you so much just sitting down with me for 45, 15 minutes, and this was really enjoyable. I'm glad to. I think this has probably been one of my closest in location conversations. So it's pretty cool to see the similarities and differences of being only, I think, 4.5 hours away. So I appreciate the time, Derek, and this was awesome.
Yeah, no, thank you. I've enjoyed talking with you this afternoon. You have my
Yeah,
cell phone number, Ryan. You need anything in the future,
yeah,
call. Happy to help. If you're ever in the area, come down to Norman. We can tour. You can meet everyone here in our Sooner Club office. We got a great crew.
for
Anything
sure.
you need, happy to help and have appreciated meeting you.
Yeah, no, I've been thinking about it with my girlfriend to go to the Luke Combs concert you guys are hosting, next
Come on
month, I
down,
think,
man.
so
That new album,
yeah, yeah,
there's some
it
good
was good.
songs on it.
It's great. No, yeah, it's awesome, but, yeah, I'll let you know for sure if we end up pulling the trigger on that, and then I'll text you for driving down.
Sounds good, brother. I appreciate you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Derek, this was awesome.
Yes, sir. We'll see ya.
See ya.